Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. I'd like to welcome you, dear viewers, to another in our series, In the Light of Islam. I greet you with Islamic greetings. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah's peace and blessings be on each and every one of you. In this segment of our program, we'll be looking at questions which have come into us from different parts of the country, as well as some questions which have come from outside of the country. The first question is one from Al-Ain. A mother writes in asking about her son. Dear Dr. Bilal, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My son was married in the United States of America to a convert Muslim 2 years ago. Their marriage was in the courts. Is the marriage valid according to Islam? Since Islamic marriage is only a contract. The first point here is that marriage in Islam has to be in accordance with the principles of marriage, wherein a representative of the Muslim community, whether it is a judge in a court, or in America, for example, it would be the imam in a masjid, or somebody appointed as a marriage officer, conducts a ceremony in which the young man is present or his representative, the young woman is present or her representative, her guardian should be there. He could be her representative, or he could be along with a representative who is speaking on her behalf. That the agreement is made between them, the mahar is expressed, that is the dowry which the young man is giving to the young woman or the woman, and her acceptance of it. Also, whatever conditions either party wishes to place in the marriage contract is placed. They have an opportunity to do so. And, finally, this is declared, a marriage in accordance with the Quran and the Sunnah. And they both agree to abide by the principles of the Quran and Sunnah in resolving the problems that may arise, as well as in guiding the marriage in its application and its fulfillment, and living in accordance with the principles of the Quran and Sunnah. Following that, there may be what is referred to as a walima. It is strongly recommended, if not compulsory, a walima, a marriage feast, where the community is invited, the community is informed, they are aware now of the marriage itself. That's the normal procedure for Islamic marriage. Now, if somebody was married in the legal systems of a given country, and they were non-Muslims, and they later converted to Islam, then their marriage will be considered valid. They don't have to remarry according to Islamic principles, because they're already married in that system as non-Muslims. We know this to be the case because there were many companions of the Prophet, may God's peace and blessing be upon him, whose marriages took place prior to their conversion to Islam. In fact, the Prophet Muhammad, may God's peace and blessing be upon him, his own marriage to Khadija, his first wife, took place prior to his conversion to Islam, his acceptance of the prophethood, at that point he became a prophet, a Muslim and a prophet of God. And he did not remarry Khadija, nor did he require his companions to do so. So we know that this is the case. However, after a person has become a Muslim, or if a person is born Muslim, then the acceptable marriage contract from an Islamic perspective is one which is in accordance with Islamic principles, which I outlined earlier. Now, in Western countries, because this lady writing about her son, he's residing in the United States, in England, etc. Now, these marriages, for them to be valid in that country, have to be registered in the governmental circles, the bureaus of family affairs, etc. Now, this may take place after, or if it takes place before, I mean, this is just for fulfilling the legal requirements of the country that one is in. One may do so before. In some cases, I know in England, the Islamic marriage is not performed until after that is officially performed, where a certificate, etc. is being given. It will not take place until after a person gets the governmental requirements, and they come and then they're given the certificate. Otherwise, in the United States, for example, people can get married in the mosque first. After doing so, then they may go down to the courts and they do a civil ceremony for the purpose of registration. We also have situations where in both Canada and the United States, where the governments or the provinces, the states, will allow or appoint certain individuals from the Muslim community as marriage officers, in that they will perform the Muslim marriage and they will fill out the necessary information for governmental records. At any rate, if we look back at this situation, we have a case where a young man has married this woman who converted to Islam, but married her in the courts only. Now, that marriage, according to Islamic law, is not considered valid. That is not an Islamic marriage. According to Islamic law, if a person did this prior to the proper Islamic marriage, they're not considered married. So the things that normally take place between a husband and wife cannot take place until after the Islamic marriage. So if they married in this way, then that marriage is not considered valid, and what is required of them is that they should go to the Islamic community center or masjid, whatever, and have the Islamic marriage performed so that they can be considered married in accordance with Islamic law. Now, the sister who wrote in the question, she mentions, as a passing remark, shouldn't this marriage be valid since the Islamic marriage is only a contract? That is only a contract. It's not got the kind of ceremonial, religious value as it has, say, for example, in Christianity, when in the course of the ceremony it's said that this is a marriage which is joined in heaven, and that no man break it asunder, this type of thing. It gives you a kind of a very religious sacrilege, sorry, not sacrilege, but making it some kind of a sacrament, a religious sacrament, this process of marriage. Whereas in Islam, it is more sort of straightforward, like a contract, where you have people, are saying, yes, so a contract is written up, agreements are made, so on and so forth. It is more of a contract of that nature, in that sense. And, divorce is recognized within the context, whereas in some Christian contexts, like in Catholicism, marriage, divorce is out of the question, except for very, very exceptional cases. Now, be that as it may, it doesn't mean that simply because the contractual aspects of Islamic marriage is sort of preponderant, that it makes no difference whether you do this contract in a mosque with the Islamic trappings around it, following the Islamic formalities, or you do it in a secular governmental court. It makes no difference. It does make a difference. Because though the Islamic marriage does not have that quality of sacrament to it, as it does in some Christian circles, it is still something which is a part and parcel of the religion. There are religious requirements involved here. So we cannot use that as an argument to say, well, it doesn't really matter where you marry as long as you get married, however you do it, it's government circles, etc., it should be accepted Islamically. No, it is not. The person who wrote in the question, she mentions that her son, actually my son, is not really practicing Islam. Well, I mean, this is the bottom line. This is really where the problem lies. The son is not really practicing Islam. So he had no concern. It didn't matter to him whether he was married in a mosque or married in a court, whatever it was. This is where the problem lies fundamentally. And this is what needs to be dealt with. That the individual needs to be invited back to Islam. He himself has left Islam. For example, his wife, maybe she converted to Islam just out of some kind of consideration for his mother's feelings. His mother would be very upset if he married a non-Muslim, so she's converted to Islam. And he went along with it for the sake of the mother. She went along with it. Well, actually, in such a case, as I said, the priority here wouldn't necessarily be trying to fix the marriage, meaning let's take it down to a mosque, etc. The priority would be trying to get this young man back to Islam. This is the priority here. He needs